Having concluded the conduct of the Edo State Governorship election, the next point of focus is the result collation centers. The Center for Democracy and Development (CDD) deployed 250 election observers across the 18 local government areas of the state. Addressing the news conference on its observation of the poll, the Executive Director of the Center for Democracy and Development, Idayat Hassan, admonished all stakeholders in Edo elections to maintain peace and transparency in the collation process of the elections. She advocated need to build on the peaceful conduct of the election and ensure there are no possible outbreak of violence at the collation centers. Highlights of the CDD interim report was represented at the briefing.
We were very explicit to say that vote buying may well determine the outcome of these elections, and I think what we have experienced today speaks and attests to that. There were, aside from the payment of money from 1,500 up to 5,000 across several polling units, we had instances of even day before, a day on the eve of elections, sharing of Ankara, fabric and spaghetti in several polling units. We observed some late arrival such that the elections did not immediately commence in several polling units. And this late arrival is of course occasioned by poor logistics management, especially the transportation of personnel and election materials to polling units. In fact, there was a particular rack that as at 9 o'clock, there were still officials, ad hoc staff trying to move from the rack to their respective polling units.
The report was not without knocks for the electoral umpire as speakers at the briefing called for electoral reform that will guarantee greater transparency in election processes.
At this time, it is important for everybody to be careful about what they believe. You will hear a lot of stories. Many of them are likely to be fake, are likely to be false, and that therefore people should not transmit messages that have not been verified, that have not come from the authoritative source, which is INEC.
The election time is one pace, the collation is another pace, then the announcement is another pace. Like Rob mentioned, when the result is forcibly changed, that is when you are going to enter trouble. And that is why we are calling and appealing to both the INEC and the security to ensure that at least this time around they did not do what many Nigerians have already given up, that every time election result must be tampered.
The CDD further called for more professionalism on the part of security agencies as it affects the trend of violence in the nation's elections, especially at the collation centers. Palang Booker, CNN News.